Simone, and I am your host. Thank you so much for joining us for the 24th Annual Garden State Film Festival. This year, we have over 200 films and film-centered events from various countries, all happening across 9 venues from March 26th to the 29th this year. Today, I am here with director-writer Vincent Morano of the short Night is for Screening. Vincent, thank you so much for joining me today, and congratulations on Night is for Screening being accepted into the Garden State Film Festival.
Thank you so much.
Can you tell our live audience a bit about your film?
Yeah, it's a short film, I guess you would call it comedy horror genre. The short's based on a feature script that's currently in development. We're in the funding casting stages. My writing partner and I, Adam Green, we wrote the feature, and then we decided to write a little short, and we had some financing to make it, and we went ahead and made it with a really incredible cast and crew.
That's awesome. Well, what inspired the writing for Night is for Screaming?
I'm a horror fan. I'm not only a horror fan, but I was talking to Adam, and we were sort of pitching ideas back and forth of something to write together. And he had an idea that's sort of, over since we started a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, it's sort of organically become something else. I think when we started, we didn't know how much the humor would become a part of it. I feel like you can't really fight your own aesthetic. So this is where we are.
What was this filming process like for you, being that this is a blurb to a feature?
I tried to not think too much about the feature and let the short have its own life, which it does. And in fact, after we shot the short, I sat down and rewrote the feature, or we sat down and rewrote the feature, because during the filming, it really took on its own life and its own tone, and that tone really felt personal to me, obviously, because I was there torturing everyone. And so then it just felt like the script needed to naturally go in that direction.
Okay. What is it that you are looking for your audience to take away from Night is for Screening?
I want the audience to have fun. I think that it's a fairly original piece, and I think all the actors are really incredible. We were lucky enough to have some fairly accomplished talent, and enjoy the visuals. We had an amazing DP, Justin Foster, and it was just we got very lucky. It's an incredible cast and crew, and I've been in the industry for a while, but as a producer, so I'm segueing hopefully into writing and directing from now on.
Where is it that you found your cast and crews? You're speaking so positively about them.
The crew was, well, it's all sort of relationships, but the crew, Ryan Gargiulo, who's one of the producers, and they were put together really based on relationships that we had already in the industry and that we worked with for years. And the cast, Molly Connors, who's another producer on the project, it was all people that she had relationships with or had worked with before, and we reached out to and sent the script, and they responded to it, and we were lucky enough to all get to work together.
What was your favorite part of this entire process, and also in turn, what was perhaps the most challenging?
My favorite part was was, principal photography. I mean, it was just happy. It just went very, very smoothly and came very naturally, I think, to everyone, and the crew and the cast were so cohesive. And there were some surprises as far as what ended up coming across on camera and what naturally developed in the little bit of rehearsal time we had. And also only having 2 days to make a movie, the restraints are,
Yeah.
necessity is the mother of invention. So we really,
That's
we,
a good one. Necessity is the
we,
mother of invention.
we
Okay.
leaned into our limitations, and I
Yeah.
think the film's better for it.
Would you say, because you had mentioned earlier that you're a real horror fanatic. I personally am also a real horror fanatic. Do you have a specific director or film that you would say inspires your style for Night is for Screaming?
Um, I've been asked that before, especially now that we're working on the feature.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I have favorite films.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I don't know how much those films translate into the tone of our film. But I talk about, it's funny because I've been recently, I have a teenage daughter, and we're having a little film festival together.
Mm-hmm.
And I talk about, for me, the horror trifecta, from the 70s, and I guess early 80s,
Yeah.
being Texas Chainsaw Massacre and The Exorcist
Yeah.
and The Shining.
Yeah.
Um, so, and then, yeah, I mean, I saw an interview recently. Someone was talking about Toby Hooper Hopper directing when he was making Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Said that he thought he was making comedy. So, it's I think the two work really well together.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, people will use humor to process trauma all the time. So, like as a side note, I listen to a podcast called Small Town Murder.
Hmm.
Fantastic podcast, and it's two comedians that will talk about murders that have happened in small towns, and because
I
they're
know that podcast. Yeah.
yes, it's a fantastic. So I think that, humor and trauma, it doesn't work together for, some people, but for a lot of people, it just is how we process. So I think that, you putting together this comedic, but like horror is something that resonates. It can resonate with a lot of people and like sit well with them. So where does Night is for Screaming fall in your journey as a director writer?
Well, I came from theater. I studied theater uh, at NYU when obviously when I was in college, and I did a lot of theater, both as an actor and director.
Mm-hmm.
And I made short films back then that I would never let anyone see today. And but then then I got into producing, and I sort of put that stuff aside.
Yeah.
And then finally it's like, well, I really miss being creative all the time,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm much happier when I am.
Mm-hmm.
And I missed the catharsis. So I've decided that's my focus from now on.
I love that. I think that there's a beauty to art in that no matter where we are in life, art will still always be there, no matter how we choose to go about it. So, where does Night is for Screaming, like, what is something that you would say you've learned from this blurb, if not are learning from the feature, that will help you moving forward as a director and writer?
I, I think that like I was saying before, the actual filming of the short was so incredibly informative,
Mm-hmm.
so organic, and I just felt, it's hard these days to be totally present in a moment. We're always looking forward or backward, I feel like, and during the making of the movie, I felt very present. And that feeling, even though it was only 2 days, is there's an addictive quality to it. And also the other thing, I'm repeating myself, but what I said before is I think what I learned most was that you can't, at least in my humble opinion, you can't really fight your aesthetic. Like I love I love Tarkovsky's movies, for instance, but I'm not Tarkovsky, and I never will be. And also, if you give me a camera, I'm not going to make that. I'm going to make whatever my crazy brain
Yeah.
tells me to make. I don't have a choice.
Well, Vincent, I would love to, go on with you. I feel like for an hour. Will I have the pleasure of meeting you in person at the festival this year?
I'll be there. Yeah, I'll be there.
Fantastic. Well, for our live viewers, Night is for Screening. Screaming will be screening on Saturday, March 28th at Asbury Lanes during the block 8:55 p.m. to 11 p.m. We hope to see you at the Garden State Film Festival this year with over 200 films screening across 9 venues, including hosting parties, panels, events, and more. Get your tickets at gsff.org/tickets. Vincent, thank you again so much for joining me today, and I can't wait to meet you at the festival.